Hi everybody, my name is Damien Reed. Until about 2 months ago, I was the CEO of a very small company in the UK called The Filter. It was a boutique recommendation and personalization company, actually founded by Peter Gabriel a long time ago, the musician. We were acquired by 24i 7 weeks ago, so it's been quite a journey. So my new title is EVP of Data Products at 24i, and I'll talk about that a bit more in a minute. Before in previous lives, I used to work for cable companies and launched many platforms and products out there. And one of them was Now TV, who, as you know, are part of Sky here in the UK. I was part of the team that launched and founded it, and that's why I had my OTT baptism in that company. And it was quite a journey. A few months in, we realized we had a horrific churn problem. Our churn was way away from where the business case was, way higher than any sustainable business model you could imagine. So we looked at lots and lots of different solutions to get our churn under control. And obviously, as you know, churn is never just one easy solution. However, one of the main things we realized was personalization and putting the right content in front of people was absolutely key to reducing churn. It increased content engagement, increased a load of metrics like value for money, perception, all those things, and it made a real difference to our platform. We actually did some very simple personalization. I was running the sports product, and we realized after 2 viewings, we kind of knew what sport you liked, we kind of knew what team you liked, and actually we also knew what time you would purchase your sports pass, because it was a one-off purchase. And we just tailored our emails to that, we sent them out at the right time, and it was a massive change in open rate and content engagement, just that very, very simple change. And that wasn't the clever data science we have now here at The Filter. It is important. So that's why my passion for personalization and recommendations manifested itself. It really can make a difference to your whole service. In fact, it's almost table stakes these days when you talk to people. They're like, yeah, don't tell me why it's so good. Tell me how you could do it, Damien. But I do think it's worth taking a step back and reminding ourselves that it is absolutely key to a streaming platform. A streaming platform, by definition, is two-way. You're getting all that user data, you're getting all that interaction, and the users are telling you so much about what they're doing. And it's a bit of a travesty when I see platforms that don't take that data and don't make the best of it and really steer the whole experience down what that customer is looking for, because they are looking for content that they want. And if you're not putting it right in front of them, they jump very quickly. Again, a Sky anecdote here, but I ran the Sky Store website for a long time, the whole Sky Store service, and we had a very, very long dwell time on our web service of 12 seconds. And 12 seconds is incredibly high, but actually, if you think about it, customers are coming in and making a very, very quick decision on what content they want. So you've got to put the right content in front of people. I always think streaming is a bit like an e-commerce platform in that sense. The mindset has to be like an e-commerce platform. A lot of the vocabulary we use with our clients are things like testing, learning, A/B, data, bounce rates, all that sort of thing that's very analogous to an e-commerce platform. And that's kind of the way to think. I think it is probably one of the most important success factors we've seen for all our clients. We have 3 big clients around the world, one in the US, Epix, Join in Germany, and then UK TV here, obviously in the UK. And all of them have seen a step change in their content engagement because of using personalization. And we know that for a fact because we do A/B testing. So for one of our clients, for example, we swapped out, it was quite a bold experiment, we swapped out they had a recommended for you rail already, and they came and said, Damien, is it really working? How can you tell if it's working for us? So we swapped it out for 10% of their base for a whole month, and the 10% just got our most popular. And the most popular was really good, it was their best shows, it was very diverse content platforms, there's lots of different stuff on there. And the recommended for you rail had 3 times the conversion, which is way more than we expected. It's just that one rail, but it showed overall what an impact that rail made. And actually, when we work with our clients, what they care about is not the individual rails, they care about the whole page conversion and content conversion. So we track metrics like bounce rate, which if you're an e-commerce company, again, bounce rate is really, really 101. So how many people come to your platform and don't find any content and leave? I mean, that is a really important metric for everyone to track. How long does it take them to find the content? And if you have personalization on your service, and we've tested all this, you can really, really change those metrics by an order of magnitude. They can halve in some examples. So hence why I'm such an evangelist about personalization. When I first joined the filter, obviously I just thought personalization was just the recommended for you rail, or maybe a bit of more like this. And actually, when you get under the skin of it, it is a lot more than just those very, very high level, but important rails. So yes, a personalized UX is incredibly important. And a lot of the projects we work on, we actually sit down with our clients, we kind of co-create a whole user experience. So we say, what is the role of recommended for you on that service? Because actually, it's very easy to make recommended for you have a very high conversion rate by tuning up the popularity. But actually, well, a lot of our clients use the recommended for you rail to drive the range of content that you see. Or the hero banner will do a great job in talking about all the top shows. You'll have a most popular, you maybe have a trending. The recommended for you rail is really key in driving the range of titles that you know that individual is going to like. The other big important thing that I learned very quickly is one of the most important recommended user interface touch points you can have is at the end of a show or end of a movie, a play next button. And the BBC have done this in the UK and done it to great success. If you have something that's relevant to that show that's just been watched or relevant to that user, you can get them continuously watching show after show after show. It's a bit like feeding them the right content, of course. And that, again, had made a massive difference for our clients in terms of really moving the dial. We're doing some quite clever stuff around curated rails. So if you want to pick horror shows for you or all that sort of stuff, you can do that and personalize those for an individual. A big topic today has also been metadata, and metadata is at the heart of getting this right. And I'd say half the value we add to our clients is in sorting out the metadata. Two big problems. One, it's generally not in good shape, and there's a lot of companies out there that can help you with that. But you've got to make sure there's no gaps, no inconsistencies. Machine learning is very, very tough on data. If it doesn't work, it throws it away. One great example there is one of our clients had Die Hard 1, 2, and 3 as a movie, and Die Hard 1 was a cop movie, Die Hard 2 was a detective movie, Die Hard 3 was a police movie. And of course, to you and I, that's all the same stuff. But to an AI algorithm, that is not the same stuff. So we had I call it a thesaurus. My data science guys will be shuddering now. It basically pulls all the content into the same taxonomy so it can all work together. The other important point about metadata is it's designed for EPG. So we had one client that was very proud. They had 70,000 keywords. And we were like, well, that's great. And then those keywords are wrong. But actually, when you're looking at recommendations, the key is to drive overlap between different titles. You want the words to be the same. You want the keywords to group and people to flow through the content in a way that makes sense to consumers. So we spend a lot of time with our clients working out how they think through, how their consumers think through content, and what keywords and taxonomy we need to make sure that those linkages happen throughout their content. So enhancing the metadata is really important. The other penny that dropped for me recently, well, maybe a year ago, was why are recommendations just on demand? They should absolutely include live TV. And we've got one of our clients where this is going live very soon. If you watch, I don't know, Germany's Next Top Model at 7 o'clock every Thursday, that should be number one on your recommended for you. It's absolutely important that that show is there. And people expect, if it's an environment where they're watching live TV a lot, which a lot of platforms are, live TV should be part of the recommendations. And that penny's dropped for us, and we've built a lot of tools and functionality around that. The other real fact of life is a lot of clients have editorial teams. And when I was at Now TV, it was always this battle. Who's better, the editorial team or the AI team? We'd send out competing emails, and totally the wrong way to think. Actually, the two can work together. We have a tool, we call it the Hero tool, because most of our clients use it for their Hero banner, where the editorial team selects maybe 12, 15, 20 items of content. And all we do as an AI service is prioritize the top 3 for that particular individual or particular household. And that means, most importantly, if you've watched something, it won't be in your hero banner, which means you're not wasting that real estate on promoting something that someone's already watched. And again, the metrics behind that were incredibly, incredibly uplifting. Mood Select is one we've launched recently, which again, I'm pointing this out because it had a massive success. It's actually very simple. Because of our enhanced metadata, we actually give a lot of our shows moods, like dark, comedy, romantic, etc. And we used that and we put it together for one of our clients. And look, here's the 12 moods that your clients are most likely to choose, and here's a mood selector. And it's basically a clever search. But actually, it worked incredibly well for this particular client, and it worked particularly well for low-frequency users. And this is a really important point. Lots and lots of platforms out there have a large cohort of people that come in once a month, maybe once every 3 months, and it's really hard to do recommended for you for those users. You've got one show to base it on. So we tend to use a much more of a more like this blended approach for those users, but this mood selector worked incredibly well for that audience actually, and really drove the low frequency users would go to the mood selector first, click what sort of mood they're in, and we'd have a bunch of content for them. And dynamic rows is the next stage where you start to personalize the whole page, and we're moving down that direction. We're going live with the client on that very soon. Clearly, customers like anchor points in a journey. If you change the page every day, there'd be a bit like what's going on. So this more applies to sort of the bottom half of, scrolling through a screen where you've got all the curated rails and the sub-rails. You know, the sports rail, if you don't watch sports, there's no point in that being anywhere near the top of the page. You should push it to the bottom. So that all makes a lot of sense. Finally, 2 final points is email. Don't forget email marketing and personalizing that. If you are building these models for a customer UX experience, there's no point in not using them for your email marketing. Again, we've gone live with Epics in the States with these, and their Friday night emails are a lot more opened, and the content engagement is significantly higher. And it's a really, really easy win to integrate into your mail system and push out content people really like. Final point is personalization. I think, as we were just talking about in the previous session, people's user interfaces are really important for them. So personalization is not a one-off, done it, go, let's disappear. You've got to work with your clients, or you've got to work on this if you're doing it yourself, month in, month out. We pride ourselves on doing what we call at least one A/B test with a client every single month. And you'll be amazed. A lot of results are sort of flat, but sometimes you get some really surprising results, like what happens if you unweight recency? We had a company in the States who were pushing all their recent stuff really high, recommended it, and we said, let's not boost your recent stuff. Let's get into the vault content, the older content. And that made a massive difference to the particular success of that rail, and in fact, the overall page metrics went up quite nicely as well. So we're always doing those A/B testing. Your user interface will change. One of our clients is launching a whole plethora of sub-10-minute items on their service. How will that affect the recommendations? Do we include those? Do we include that in the watch assistant, for example? You constantly have to work at this. This is not something you set up and leave and go, great, job done. So we work in a very managed service way with our clients, and that seems to be the only way to work for me. You've got to stay on top of this. It's a core part of your customer experience. And the final slide is we actually announced a rebranding this morning. Obviously, we're part of the 24i family, and made a nice sense to call ourselves 24IQ because we are the data platform. Key to that is the analytics. Obviously, the IQ is appealing to all of you out there that like a bit of insight, a bit of the graphs we saw earlier. But it is really, really important to have all this analytics. Clearly, as a recommendation, as a sort of byproduct of it almost, you get a wealth of information on customer journeys, customer interaction, content interaction. And in fact, for a lot of our clients, we step change that all up into a much more of a churn model. If we get churn data from our client, we know subscription status, we can link the kind of content that's working, the kind of journeys that are working, and really optimize your user experience for that. And all the slides you saw earlier, you'll see the growth in the number of platforms everyone's subscribing to is going down and down and down. So the fight for consumers is really, really going to be the tough battle over the next few years. And personalization genuinely is at the heart of that. Thank you.